Hello my sweet friends, welcome back. I've decided that I want to film a little bit of a reading vlog for the next couple of days, just kind of take you guys along with me as I read, just hang out. I think it is March 6th today, it's a Monday. Usually how I organize my days is that I like time batch, so I'll kind of think from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. I'll do editing, from 9 till 10 I'll do emails, from 10 till 11 I do whatever. And today I actually finished my work a little bit earlier than usual, so right now it's like 12, like 12:15 I think, and I'm pretty much like an hour ahead of where I should be. So I've decided that I'm gonna sit down with my midday coffee and I'm gonna read for the next like hour or so before I have to kind of get into my afternoon work, I guess. But before I get into reading, let's talk about the books that I'm currently reading. Like I said, it is March 6th and I've only finished one book so far this month, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But for some reason, I have just decided to start like so many different books and just not finish any of them. So let me give you the rundown. Starting off, we have You Deserve Each Other, which I think I am almost exactly halfway through. I'm enjoying this so far. I'm not obsessed with it. This one is about a couple who are engaged, but they're not actually very happy. And so they're kind of trying to sabotage the relationship so that the other person in the relationship backs out, calls off the wedding, and they can kind of go their separate ways. This concept has always intrigued me so much because it's almost like lovers to enemies to lovers, I'm assuming, because apparently they get back together at some point. I'm not at that point yet, and I'm really excited to get to that point because right now they're just being really horrible to each other, and I'm not really enjoying that aspect of it. But a lot of people say you hate it and then you love it, so I'm crossing my fingers that I start loving it really soon, and hopefully we get some like cute, wholesome romantic moments instead of them just like kind of being awful to each other. It is funny, it is entertaining, but it's just like, please stop being nice to each other soon. Then I'm also halfway through Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. Yeah, you can see where my bookmark is there. This is one that I've almost been trying to go through slowly because once I'm done with this, I'm done with the Magnolia Parks universe up until this point, and it's my favorite series in the world, and I just like don't want to be at a point where I don't have another book to go to after this. And so I've kind of been reading through it like fairly slowly, but I really should just like dive into it and finish it. I also have a couple of non-fiction books that I'm reading. These ones I don't think I'll finish in this vlog, but I might read a chapter or two throughout the next few days. So first of all, we have Gentle and Lowly. The Dust Jacket is not on this one right now. I'm also halfway through this one and I'm loving this. This is a Christian non-fiction book and it is about the heart of Christ. Truly obsessed with it right now. I'll definitely finish it sometime this month, but I'm currently just reading like a chapter or two a day. And then I'm also reading She's on the Money, which is like a finance book. I've literally only read one chapter so far, so I can't really say much about it, but I think it'll be really helpful. I also do have an audiobook going at the moment. I'm listening to Daisy Jones and the Six, which is so happy because that is one of my favorite books ever. I read it for the first time, I think in 2021, and it was a 5-star read for me, so obsessed, but I've just been itching to reread it recently. I know all the hype about the TV show is obviously everywhere, so that's probably a big reason as to why I want to reread it. And I've always wanted to listen to the audiobook because everyone says it's phenomenal. It's a full cast audiobook, which means each character has their own like voice actor, and it just sounds amazing. So those are the plans for the next few days. We'll see if I actually finish any books. We'll see if I start any new books. I always have so many books on the go. I don't know why. It's just who I am. It's what I enjoy. So you never really know what's going to happen. But I think I'm just going to read a bit more of You Deserve Each Other before I need to get ready for the gym and whilst I drink my coffee. So let's do it. Coffee is gone. I made it up to chapter 13, which is page 213. How many pages is this book? Around 350, so it's nice to get over the 200 page mark because in my head, that means I have like 100 pages to go. It's closer to 150, but in my head, it's like 100. But I feel like it's gonna really start getting good now. I can see it, I can feel it coming, and I'm excited, but I need to go to the gym, so I'll check in with you guys later. Finished at the gym and I've just come to the library because I have a few returns that I need to make. I might also just have a look while I'm there. I'm trying not to borrow library books at the moment or buy books because I'm trying to get through my physical TBR, and if I buy new books or if I get library books, I'm not going to read my physical TBR. But once I've got my physical TBR down to a more reasonable number, I am going to be at the library probably every week getting new stuff. So if you're a reader and you're not a part of your local library, you've got to get on it. It's literally the best thing ever. Free books, and then you just return them and get more free books. Like, I cannot stress this enough. I love Anyway, while I was driving and also while I was at the gym, I've been listening to Daisy Jones, and oh my goodness, I need to do more rereads of my favorite books, because it is magical to reread a book that you rated 5 stars and just kind of like relive the experience. But I almost feel like a reread, I don't know, I guess it depends on the book, but right now I feel like I'm enjoying this more than I enjoyed it the first time, because I don't have to concentrate on which character is which and what the important things are, and even like the plot itself. I can literally just sit back and enjoy it, and so I need to do this more often, even if it is like an audiobook. But I'm just absolutely loving it. I'm only like an hour and a half into the audiobook, so we've got a long way to go, but let's go return these books and just see what else they have at the moment, see if they've got anything good. Hello friends, it is now 6 p.m. I've showered, I'm in my pajamas, I've actually also made dinner. It's just kind of simmering at the moment, but it's just a little chicken curry, and now I'm just waiting for Liam to get home so that we can eat dinner together. And since talking to you last, I did listen to a little bit more of Daisy Jones. Let's see how far I am. Okay, so I'm like almost 2.5 hours through this, which I guess is like roughly a quarter. I also got through a little bit more of You Deserve Each Other, and now I'm at page 250, which means I actually have 100 pages left, and I haven't read any more of Daisy Hates. So I think I'm gonna read this for a little while I wait for Liam to get home. I'm not like fully annotating this one. I really want to, but I also know that if I annotate it, it's going to take me actual months to get through, because that's just how I annotate, or at least these books, because they're like my favorite. But I have been highlighting my favorite quotes, and I think I'm going to come back for a reread and annotate it at that point, because like I said, if I annotate it now, it's going to take me months to get through, and it's just not the vibe I'm going for this one. It literally took me like over a month to read Long Way Home because I was annotating the heck out of it. Let me show you actually. I don't know if I've actually shown you. My battery's about to die, so I don't know if we're gonna make it. But here we have, and Daisy Hates as well actually, the first one. This is what my copies look like, and I don't annotate, so you can tell that I really love something if I annotate it. But like every single page, there are like so many tabs, notes, highlights, underlines. You can't really see the underlines very well, but there's a lot. And same with Daisy Hates. It's just on like every single page. And so I will come back at some point and do that to my Daisy Hates too. And I actually need to do it to my first Magnolia Parks book, because I read it on Kindle at the very beginning before I realized how much I loved it. So I need to annotate that one as well, but not yet. Anyway, I'm getting distracted, so let's go read Daisy Hates 2. Put my babies back in their home. Also, do you like my pajamas? It's just a giant t-shirt with a rainbow on it. I freaking love it. Comfiest thing in the world. Just for reference, I'm on page 199 right now. I definitely read the Magnolia Parks books very slowly because I don't want to speed read. Like, I don't want to be skimming. I don't want to miss a single word of these books. They are just too precious to miss anything, miss a single second. I feel like typically I read books faster, but not this. Not Miss Daisy Hates. I've been reading for like 2 minutes and Liam just got home. I haven't even made rice. I just want to know how Jessa Hastings manages to create the most awful, selfish, conceited, criminal, borderline crazy characters and make them so likable. Like, you're telling me that I feel sympathy for a gang lord, or you're telling me that I somehow want two extremely toxic, trauma-bonded people to actually end up together? How does she make my brain do that? I just want to know. just finished You Deserve Each Other, and that was so good. I think yesterday was the last time I spoke to you about my thoughts on this, and I was kind of saying, oh, like, I don't know how I feel. They're kind of just being mean to each other. I just want them to start like being nice. And they did. They started being nice, and it turned into such a phenomenal romance. Like, it was so good. I also think I mentioned yesterday that I heard people say you'll hate it but then you'll love it, and that's exactly how I feel about this book. I didn't necessarily hate it, but I definitely wasn't enjoying it that much, and by the end I was obsessed. It's just so freaking cute, and you do understand why you need the first half, because it makes the second half significant, and like, you wouldn't enjoy the second half as much if you didn't read the first half, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this was so freaking cute. Definitely recommend if you like rom-coms. It kind of reminded me of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, where Kate Hudson is obviously trying to get, I've got a mental blank on his name right now, Ben. What is his, I only know his name in the movie. Anyway, she's trying to get Ben to break up with her, and so she's kind of like sabotaging things and being really annoying. This book just reminds me a lot of that. Definitely different plot lines, different motives, different situation, but kind of the same vibe. And even just like the same rom-com vibe, where there's romance but it's entertaining. It's just so good. I'm trying not to rate my books as soon as I finish them, because I kind of like to stew on them a bit before giving it my rating, so I don't know exactly what I'm rating it yet, but I think it'll be in the 4-star realm. Maybe 4.5, but we'll see. Is that TikTok not the best thing you've ever seen? Honestly, seeing Hailey, Sarah, and Destiny all hang out in the same place, it makes me so happy. I cannot wait to see the videos they film together. The fact that we're probably going to get a video from each of them, it's a dream come true. We love the book girlies. This is my little monthly read pile that will hopefully build up a little bit over the month, but on to the next. It's now a little bit later. I've just been doing some work, but I did do a little bit more reading. I read a bit more of Daisy Hates. I think I just hit the 300 page mark, and I think it's about just under 450 pages total. Of course, obsessed, 5 stars, like, you already know how it is, but my issue is things are happy right now. The point where I'm at, things are happy, and that is suspicious. Magnolia Park's books never really end that happy, so I don't know what I'm expecting, but I'm already sad that I'm gonna be sad. I'm sad in advance. Anyways, I'm heading out to run a few errands. My outfit is the most simple thing in the world, but it's comfy and cute, so I don't mind too much. Black skirt from Stax, black tee from, I think, White Fox, but I feel like you can find a tee like this anywhere. Like I said, I have a few errands to run, a few work things to do, but part of me is like, maybe I should just drop into Big W on the way home and just like have a look at their books. I haven't been buying books recently. I think it's been about 3 weeks since I've bought a book, which for me is kind of fantastic. It's kind of the best I've done in a very long time, so I'm kind of proud of that, and I almost don't want to ruin the streak I've got going. That probably sounds so ridiculous to some people, and understandably so. It is ridiculous of me that that is good for me. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I'll update you guys later. I'll probably listen to some Daisy Jones while I'm in the car. I'm obsessed. I'm loving it so much. It is just, it's just so good the second time round. Just as good the second time round, I should say.
I never got it, why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter
I kind of feel like I'm wearing a toga. It's now Wednesday and I'm about to head off for a meeting, like a lunch meeting with Soph. We're doing some future you work. And we've got like a semi-decent drive. So again, I'm going to listen to more of Daisy Jones. Where are we up to? I think we're like around halfway, if I'm remembering correctly. I haven't listened to any today. Yeah, we're just over halfway. So I'll listen to a bit of this. I also read a little bit of Magnolia Parks this morning, and also I haven't necessarily started a new book, but I've been very slowly reading Some Kind of Perfect by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is the last book in the Addicted/Calloway Sisters series, and I think I read like 5 or 10% of that last night and then like 5 or 10% of that this morning. So I think we're at like the 40% mark of that. I'm reading it on my Kindle, but since I finished You Deserve Each Other, I needed something else because I can't just read one book at a time, can I? But I'm hoping that today I might be able to finish Daisy Hates because I think I have 100 pages left, but I guess it kind of depends how long I'm out for and then what I have to do when I get home. We'll see. I just parked, but while I was driving here, I got to the part in Daisy Jones where Billy and Daisy spend a lot of time in the pool house writing songs for the album. And I've got to say that that is one of my favorite parts of the book because it just feels so pure. Just like these two extremely talented people working together on this album, doing what they love, doing what they're really good at, and it's just, I don't know, I love it. And I feel like it's kind of like the moment where things are still coming together and before anything really bad happens. And I can just see that moment so clearly in my head. Like I can imagine them just sitting in that pool house and it like feels like a movie in my brain, and even them just talking about how they come up with the inspiration of certain songs and what they're about and what certain lyrics mean, and it's just amazing. I love it so much.
Anymore, you only want what you can afford. Don't I make you feel something? Or maybe you can't feel anything. She's not gonna give you everything. I wish you could be happy.
Good morning, friends. It is now Thursday. On Tuesday, I finished You Deserve Each Other, and then yesterday, Wednesday, I finished listening to my audiobook of Daisy Jones and the Six, and I told you guys I was going to finish this book last night, but I didn't. I watched maths instead, but I only have 50 pages left, so that's kind of my plan for this morning. We're going to try and finish this, and I'm really scared. It's always the last 100 pages that get me of Magnolia Parks books. Like I always put off reading the last 100 pages because I know, well, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming it's going to be not a happy ending, and I'm just like stressed about it, so but we're gonna do it. We're gonna finish it this morning so I can end this vlog and get it up for you guys because I told myself I was gonna finish this vlog yesterday, but I don't want to leave you guys hanging on the last 50 pages of this book, you know? So let's do it. My book's just stressful.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Oh, it's complicated. Ugh, guys, I'm on page 426. And it's really interesting because with these books specifically, you have Magnolia Parks and you have Daisy Hates. And the first Magnolia Parks book and the first Daisy Hates book follow the same timeline, but obviously kind of hone in on different events and different POVs. So obviously Magnolia Parks is about her and her relationships and her friendships, and Daisy Hates is about her and her relationships and her friendships. But they do intertwine because their friendship groups overlap, their relationships kind of overlap. It's hard to explain until you read it, but they're intertwined, but they're still obviously separate. And in the same way that the first Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates books follow the same timeline, the second Magnolia Parks book and the second Daisy Hates book also follow the same timeline. And so now that I'm getting to the end of Daisy Hates 2, I'm also like rereading the same events that happen at the end of Magnolia Parks 2, which are really difficult to read again when you already know like how things happen. But it's also crazy because you see almost like why things happen, and in Magnolia Parks you don't know why certain things happen. It looks like it's just a coincidence, it looks like it's just chance, but then in this book you find out that there's like a reason or like a motive behind certain things. It wasn't just a coincidence. It wasn't just chance that someone was around at the time a certain event happened. And it's just, it actually breaks my heart, especially reading Julian's point of view. Like, my soul actually hurts. And it's like, this person isn't even real, but his feelings are so, I don't know how to explain it. I just, like, my heart hurts, and I just, like, I almost, like, don't want to be reading this because it makes me feel so, like, sad and so hurt, and those feelings feel so real. But I'm like, it's just a book, and also I obviously need to finish it, but I don't know, it's just hard. Like, isn't that so crazy that a book can make you feel such real feelings even though it's not real? The people aren't real, the situations aren't real, but oh my gosh, Jessa Hastings. I need therapy at this point. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so stressed. Oh my gosh. These poor characters, they really just go through it. Like, really, really just go through it. I feel like especially in Daisy Hates. You're joking, that's not the end, is it? Why am I crying? Oh, no, I actually need the next book right now. I've never actually finished a Magnolia Parks book without having another one to go straight into. Even if I didn't go straight into it, it was still an option. My eyes are literally tearing up. Anyway, I think I need 2 to 3 business days to process this, but I'll get back to you guys with my thoughts in a little while. I mean, 5 stars. We already knew that, but I have no words. I love it how I said I wasn't going to fully annotate this book, and I was just gonna highlight my absolute favorite quotes, and then I went through and tabbed all of the quotes that I did highlight, and I've basically annotated the whole book. I mean, I'm not mad about it, but apparently I'm just incapable of not annotating Jessa Hastings' work. Anyway, it is many hours later since I last talked to you, and I wanted to do a little recap on the books that I've read over the past few days, my overall thoughts and ratings, and just kind of end this vlog for you guys. So, as for the books that I didn't finish, I read a couple of chapters of each of the non-fiction books that I mentioned at the beginning. Didn't finish any of those. I read about 10 or 15% of Some Kind of Perfect on my Kindle. And then as for the books that I did actually finish, we have You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. I thoroughly enjoyed this. The first half was entertaining, but it kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready for like the love story to actually start, because at the start, they're just kind of acting like they hate each other. They're kind of trying to sabotage each other any chance they get. And it is entertaining, but it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I'm kind of like ready for this to end. But then when they do start like falling in love again, which is like the whole premise of the book, it was just so fun to read. And because you've dealt with the whole sabotage, annoying first half of the book, I actually think it makes the second half just so much better and so much sweeter. I also think that if your love language is acts of service, you need to read this book, because there is so many like little tiny subtle acts of love throughout the second half of this book that I just frothed, because that is my love language and I just love reading about that sort of thing. So if you love acts of service, please read this. And I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5 overall. It's not quite 5 stars for me, just because I feel like that first half of the book could have been shortened a tiny bit, and I was kind of like getting over it a little bit by the halfway point, but the second half really made up for it. And yeah, I think it does deserve a 4.5 star rating. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Perfect rom-com. Then we have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is I loved it so much. It is a reread. I rated it 5 stars the first time and 5 stars again for the second time. This just reaffirmed how much I love this book and these characters and this storyline. It's a very interesting plot because there's not a very clear storyline. It's not your typical, they start here, it builds up, there's a big conflict, it gets resolved, and then they live happily ever after. It's definitely not like that, but it's a beautiful story. it just feels so real. The characters feel so real, and I know people are going to ask, are you going to be watching the TV show, because obviously this just got adapted into a TV show, I think on Amazon Prime, and at this point probably not, purely just because I don't really care for TV shows very much. The only TV I really watch is reality TV, which I know is trash and that's terrible, but I don't know, I'm just not like a big TV person. I haven't watched literally any TV or movie adaptations. I haven't watched The Hating Game, haven't watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, haven't watched All the Boys I Love before. I don't even know what else is out there, but it's just not my thing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but for all of you out there, you enjoy that because it looks phenomenal. And I'm so glad that Taylor Jenkins Reid is getting the hype that she deserves, I guess. And then lastly, we have Daisy Hates The Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings, which again, 5 stars. We had such a successful few days reading. We have a 4.5 star and 2 5 stars. Obviously one was a reread, but the fact that all of these books were above 4 stars is incredible to me. Like, what a great start to March. I mean, to be honest, I knew this was going to be a 5 stars. I haven't rated any of Jessa Hastings' books under 5 stars. It's just my favorite series ever. I love these characters so much. You can just tell when I read it that I'm so like attached to the characters and the storyline. I am so sad that I have to wait, I don't even know how long, at least a few months, maybe more. If anyone knows the release date of the next Magnolia Parks book, please let me know, because I will be counting down the days, but I just love this series so much. So those are all the books that I have to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. I actually had so much fun filming it and even editing it. I was like, wow, this is one of my favorite vlogs that I have filmed and edited in such a long time. I think reading just makes me so happy, and so to be able to like film that and share that with you guys and create content around that genuinely brings me so much joy. So I just want to say I love you guys and thank you so much for watching. The only reason I get to make content like this so often and like make so much of this type of content is because you guys watch it. So I really appreciate it. You guys are just the absolute best. As always, feel free to leave me any thoughts that you have about these books or any other recommendations that you might have for me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.